per year, right?
So speaking for somebody who get 70,000 in a month.
Let's go there.
I love it.
Because
You will do that job.
I want the job.
Yes.
Welcome to the OA Dynasty Forum.
Here at OA Dynasty Forum, we talk about the process that is involved on every journey to success, and we're there to lay it all bare.
Expect to be informed, transformed, and blessed as you come on this journey with us. Enjoy the journey.
Welcome back to OA Dynasty Forum. Today is going to be, spicy a little bit. So we're going to be discussing something very interesting, something very, relevant to this age and generation. But before I move into that, those who have been with us since the beginning of this platform, my big love for you guys, and those who are just wondering if they should subscribe or not, please do. You will not regret doing that. And for those who are with us for the first time, you're just watching OA Dynasty Forum for the first time, thank you for watching, and make sure you subscribe before you sign out. So my wife is going to introduce us to what we're going to be discussing today. My name is Anthony, and
My name is Tola. So today, because there's this thing about you want to travel abroad and you want to live in the happening city. You want to be in Toronto if you're in Canada, or you just want to be in Ontario or BC and all that, right? And when people hear Newfoundland, they're like, what's that? Like there's this even without even getting here, or even without reading about it, people just assume that you can't really have a good life there. Yeah. So basically, what we're doing on our platform today is to bring Newfoundland to the fore. So this is not a paid advert for Newfoundland, but we just thought it was important to give, because really in life, if you don't tell your story, other people's version of your story might be what will be flying out. But we are living in Newfoundland, we've been living in Newfoundland for years now, and we have our friend here with us. We just wanted to chat about, thriving in Newfoundland. How has it been, so that other people can, get to see, or hear different perspectives to whatever they've been hearing before.
So Newfoundland is home to a lot of students, and when you tell people you live in Newfoundland, they're like, how do you survive there? So most people think we just live in the middle of ice and things like that.
Yeah.
But today is just to talk about that and what Newfoundland looks like to a lot of people, and how they have survived, or how they have made Newfoundland their home. So today we're just going to throw it open. What is Newfoundland? And before we go into that, I would like to introduce our wonderful guest on the show today. We have, fantastic set of people today, and I'm going to be welcoming them as they introduce themselves one after the other. So we're starting from that angle. Can we please meet you?
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Amy, and I live in Newfoundland.
Yeah, thank you, Amy.
Hi, my name is Uche.
Hi, my name is Nonso. I live in Newfoundland. And this is my wife, Biden.
So if I may ask, how long have you been in Newfoundland?
Oh my goodness, that's maybe not as long as Julian, I guess.
7 years. Oh, that's good.
Almost 8 years now.
Yeah, 8 years.
Wow. How about you, Uche? How long have you been?
5, less than 5.
5. Amy, you missed that part. How long have you been here?
I've been here for 9 years.
9 years, okay.
I'm the youngest person.
No, you don't assume.
Don't assume. Yeah, you just showed up. Welcome.
Okay, we pass it to.
So hi, my name is Immigrant, and I've been living in Newfoundland for about 5 months now.
Oh man.
Yeah.
My name is Jillian, and I've been living in Newfoundland for 10 years.
She fixed the cake.
Okay, so what does Newfoundland mean to you? I mean, like, what can you say about Newfoundland? When people hear that, they're like, is that in Canada? Let me tell you a joke. When I was coming to Canada a couple of years ago, I just told a friend where I was going to, and he was like, "No, what are you going to do there?" Like, what I know about that place is that you boil water and the water is boiling and you just pour it up and it just freeze. Oh my! So a lot of stereotype about Newfoundland. Amy, what do you think about Newfoundland?
Well, I didn't really have any stereotypes per se when I moved to Newfoundland, because I had I started my journey in 2010 into coming to Canada, so I had like a couple of years to do my research about moving into Canada and stuff. So I was expecting what I saw, so there was no stereotype whatsoever. I knew what I was getting into. Like, I understood that, okay, this is a small town kind of vibe, and coming from a big city, I welcome the change. Like, I was looking forward to it.
Okay. Anybody else want to talk about what do you think about Newfoundland?
I can go next. I think it just reminded me of Accra. If you've been to Ghana or Accra before, everybody's nice. It's small in its own way. For me, because I was very sheltered in one area, but it was small in its own way. So I feel like it reminded me of Accra, and I think that's why I love it so much, and I don't want to go. Every time I go to Ontario, I feel like it's too busy. And everybody's like, oh, go to Alberta and you change your mind. And I went there and I feel like Alberta is too empty. Like, everybody is on their own. So Newfoundland gives me a good balance. So that's what my opinion.
Like when I came, like every time many people meet me at work, they're like, "Why are you here? Why did you choose to come here? What's it in Newfoundland? The weather, you have like 4 seasons in a day. Like, why are you here?" And I'm like, when you look at it, it gives you a little bit more touch to, you know, the small city, like you would say. And if you're someone who doesn't like the busyness of the big towns, this place gives you that, you know, that comfort. And so far, it's a good place to raise kids, right? You are at touch with, you know, what's happening with your child, and all that. So that's basically one of the reasons why, you know, I haven't yet pushed any button to get out of here. I don't think I'm doing that anytime soon. So
Okay, for me, you know, because I'd always had this, you know, ambition of wanting to do a PhD and all that. So I remember when I was going to move to Newfoundland, I just, you know, kind of did a preliminary search to say, I don't think Newfoundland has the course I would like to do. So in my mind, I was like, okay, once my husband is done, I didn't even, like, once you're done, we'll go to the other place where we'll be able to get that PhD opportunity for me. And so that brings me to this next line of thought, because I didn't see any good, you know, in that sense, because I didn't know that I was going to be able to find what I'd always wanted to do in Newfoundland. And I think that also in a way kind of restricted the way I could blossom in the land. So because there's this thing about our mindset and how it affects us. So I think for me, the change started when I began to see Newfoundland as a place I could actually call my home, right? And it actually it wasn't immediate, right? It was exactly. And I think that's also because some people will just feel like, oh, you just love Newfoundland. No, it has not always been like that for me. I had to get to that point where, you know, I was like, okay, Newfoundland, and immediately I got to that point, it was more like boom. Everything just started to kind of just fall in place for me.
And that's a perfect way to, you know, start this conversation, because I've seen a lot of students come around and say, well, as soon as I'm done, the second day I'm done. So if I can trade up, what was that defining moment for you? You know, at what point do you feel like, okay, I can actually stay? You know, like she just said. Anybody can go first. I mean, what was that time?
For me, I met somebody. I can't mention his name because I'm not sure but most of us know him. He's a Nigerian and he has a thriving business here. And I remember speaking to him one time, and he said to me, whatever you want this land to be, he's not a Christian, by the way.
Wow.
I don't think so. He said, whatever you want this land to be, that's what it's going to be for you. And he left it at that. And that's that time I was really, really struggling. I was like a student, and I didn't make up my mind I would leave, but I didn't think there was hope for me because I couldn't see beyond that. I think after that, it just woke my senses up, right? And I knew that I could have much more in the land. And then the second encounter was with Pastor John T, which I don't think he minds if you mention his name, and in our church. And I remember he said to me, he says, "Why are you doing computer science?" And I tell him, and he says, he started mentioning companies that were sponsored. I'm like, oh really? These companies are all here. So it's just opened my brain, and I think so for me it was by association, who I spoke to and where they were at. Because if I had still remained in a circle of the students that I knew, I think I would still have that same mindset. So the association that I started bringing myself around. I think
that's very important to mention.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
I think if I'm just going to draw in on what you said about, having a mindset on where you see yourself, and you just making up your mind and saying that as soon as your husband is done, you're going to move. For me, like, I was already thriving in my field back at home, and Newfoundland for me was like the next big thing, because like offshore oil and gas and stuff, and I was like, this is green. I want to be in on this, and I want to be able to expand. So there was, when I came, I had very high expectations, because I came here to do my master's in the oil and gas and all of that, and just as I was finishing, the oil and gas went diving. Like, so for me it was a rude awakening. Like, oh my god! So all of these expectations I had about this place, like, crashing down. Planning everything, and everything is just to waste. Like, my heart sank literally, and for somebody that I like to plan my life, so at that point I was just all over the place. Like, there was no, I didn't have an option like, okay, go to, because that wasn't my plan. My plan was to come here, thrive, and have everything all lined out like that. So when that happened, I had to make an alternate decision. I know. I had to go and dust off all other skills and try to get myself into, because I mean, if you come here as a student, the first thing that's in your mind, you need to get your PR, and you have to find a path to do your PR, and I mean, you're here, you might as well just leverage on it and get it done and over with. So at that time, I think for me, what really defined, okay, you have to stay, is get your PR, and then you can decide what happens after that, and everything sort of like started unfolding afterwards.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So I would, of course, by God's grace, we're all doing well here. So just a question now to what would, looking at what you have now, what's that thing that would make you to leave what you have now for any other part of Canada?
I think that for me is when, because to be honest, in life you're always looking for the next thing. You're always looking to get better. You're always looking to get higher. You're always looking to thrive and be better than where you are right now. And that's basically one of the things that keep us going, right? So I guess that one of the things is that there's a level at which you get to here that most of the other things are not around here, right? First, and you start to, depends on what line of business you are in, depends on what line of industry you are in, and some of those opportunities may not be around, right? So there may be where you have the headquarters, or you have the regional areas, you have the regional, and then the national as well. Right, so it depends on when so there'll be a certain point where you can now decide, okay, am I going to basically just say, okay, this is my home, and then you go out and then come back based on the way business goes, or what you really plan to do with your life. Because it's true that they say that there's a limit to what happens in some businesses around here, right? But the thing is, what is it? What are you looking for generally? But for me, you're looking for what are you looking for? What is that? What's that thing what's your reason for even staying here in the first place? But outside of that, I mean, like, if you're looking for, there are positions that you can't get technically, by just, by being here. It's just something like, let's just say I'm from Nigeria, right? And there are positions you can only get if you're in Lagos. technically,
Abuja, yeah.
or you're in Abuja.
Yeah.
There are positions you can only get if you're in those areas, because then you either have to be, residents there, and then you have to travel back and forth. Maybe you prefer your family to be in a smaller town, and then you travel back and forth, or you just move everybody there. So I guess that will be, what are you looking for? What's the next big thing? What's the next point of in your career move? I guess for me that would be.
I mean, if I was to advise someone thinking through it, I'll just say personally, I'm still doing I do a very regular assessment and a very frank assessment with myself, because it's very tempting to consider the fact that you've been in a place for a long time and start considering, hey, I don't want to move. I've already formed a lot of relationships here, this, that. You have a lot of reasons not to move, but but that's just coming from a very sentimental point of view. And again, there's also that place of like looking at your person. I mean, everything about you, your career, and all that. And if frankly all you want is here, like it makes no sense to move. Right? I mean, if you formed you have a lot of your relationships here and all that, you have a community around you here, your career, everything you want, at least for the foreseeable future, is here. Truly, it makes no sense to move. But if you do a frank assessment and you're like, you know what, the direction I'm going, it's not here, right? And you're frank with yourself, and fine, you can make that decision. But it's just to be frank with oneself, and really looking at things very objectively and making up your mind, right? That's where I see it.
I think I can answer that question because I agree with him. I'm very sentimental about whether I should move or not.
Yeah.
I feel like, I always say the church plays a huge role in why I'm still here. So I'm very sentimental about that. And there's a lot of personal investment that I have here. So it's so hard for me to even think that it's even possible. But I know it is possible, but I don't know what will do that yet.
I think I think where your heart is, like home is where your heart is. I've moved and I'm back. So like my motivation for moving very strong.
I'm very curious to know why, what you found there and when you came back.
Like I'm saying, my motivation for moving out of Newfoundland was very strong at the time. Like so, there was not like, of course, I had relationships. Like I mean, I've lived here the most since I came to Canada, so it wasn't a question of but at that point, it was life or death.
Yeah.
Which you know what I mean? So like, I'm just kidding, but like not in that sense. But like you come to a place in your life and you just have to make those tough decisions. And if it's not working for you in that moment, my dear, like but your heart knows what it wants. So one way or the other, if you're meant, like if you I don't want to go spiritual here, but like if there's something for you in a place, trust me, everything will realign to bring you back to that place, because that's where God wants you to be.
Basically, bring that into,
So like, where your heart is really is where home is. Like I was away, and yes, it was nice. It was beautiful. Like I had a great, environment. I was working in a nice place. Like awesome. My field and all I've always wanted, anyways. And I find myself here. And I'm here again. And like, I was not just going to leave what I was doing away and then just come and pitch tents here, right? Like, but like things just realigned and things began to align. I tapped into the opportunity in the moment, and I'm back, and I'm here now. So it's a dicey way to wade, because I mean, we're human beings. Our wants and needs keep changing, but God ultimately knows what's in our heart and how those things will align to make things work perfectly, right?
Another thing is like what God wants for you, right? It's like if you align to God's will, He would basically keep you where He's going to make you blossom. He's going to keep you where He needs you to be. Technically, it's basically what He wants you to be. Like when I was coming here, and my husband said that God asked him to stay here. So every time he talks about me, I go back back to the question of has God spoken?
I thought everything.
Right? So it's
My son.
Good one. So it's like has God spoken again? So I always bring us back.
Sure, when you hear my response.
So I always bring us back to that, question as well. And to be honest, like if you're God inclined, right, and you walk with you do life according to God's will. When He tells you to stay in a place, He provides every resource you need to live, right? And sometimes, so some persons also are not actually supposed to be here. They are supposed to be somewhere else, and keeping yourself here because of sentimental attachment and not actually listening to what God has in store for you would actually limit your growth as to what God wants to do with your life. So just as you said, if this is somewhere God has actually planted your feet, He's going to make the land respond to you and to make you what He wants you to do. So
can I just say something?
We're all ready to listen to your answers.
Not regarding what you actually said.
Okay.
Something just came to mind. Because I've had certain conversations with some people who came to me and they were like, okay, you know what? I really want to be here. I think there's an opportunity for me somewhere else, but my heart is here. And I always tell them, see, especially people who are just finishing from school, I'm like, see, the reality is this. You get to a point in your career where you can work wherever you want to. So
you get to choose,
exactly. You get to a point. So to me, I'm like, if your heart is here, go where the opportunity is. Try and build yourself up fast enough to a point where you can choose where you want to live. And a lot of times they've done it. I'm sure some of us know some of these people. A lot of people have come to see, go. Like if your heart is here, fine. When you get there, build yourself up as fast as possible to a point where you can now decide if I want to come back here. It's no longer a thing of like somebody can even say, you know what, I don't mind taking a pay cut and come back. At that point you can now choose.
Make that decision.
You can now make that decision. You don't have anything holding you down. It's not PR or anything. You've covered all that.
It's not immigration
issue. It's not experience. It's nothing. You can just decide, you know what, there's an opening there. I know if I apply, I'm going to be one of the choice candidates because there are some places you work as an engineer, for example. There are some terrains you would have worked in. If you apply for a job anywhere, you get it. Somebody who has worked in Nunavut, has worked in Fort McMurray, has worked in Labrador. It doesn't matter where you apply. Once they see you worked in these places, this engineer is mad. It takes an engineer who is really feisty and insane to work in those conditions, in those places, right? So once you have that on your resume, you can choose. You can decide wherever you want.
All right. So thank you so much for going there. Right, when you said PR and all that, so how would you say? Because I know we are all, everyone here has, and of course, by the way, we are all, we are rooting for people to stay legally. If you are going to come to Canada, make sure you come like. Yes, we have to mention that. Yes, but I was going to go to the fact that we are all here on a permanent, in terms of we all have a permanent, either you're a citizen or you're a permanent resident. So how would you say that has played? Would you say that has played any role in you deciding to stay in Newfoundland?
Rephrase that.
So would you say that you have, so for example, you have your permanent residence and there's really nothing like, I'm just
holding you to stay here.
Yeah, nothing is really holding me, like I'm just here. It's not like I'm going to look for any. For example, Amy mentioned at the beginning that your job probably might want to stay here because I just need that job to get a PR, so that's something that is keeping you here. But now that you have the PR, you can live anywhere in Canada, right, with your PR or a citizen. So why would you say that has played a role in you still staying in Newfoundland? I don't know. Is that American?
Answer the question.
So for me, it's a dicey one because prior to me coming here, I spoke to my wife, of course, and what she said was that there's a word that has gone forth and God wants me to remain in Newfoundland. So coming here, I didn't really have any sense of being at another place. I normally just focus and once God has spoken, I'm nobody but to obey.
But now that you have your PR, does it change the fact that you can go anywhere?
It doesn't. Because of my personality type, I actually am like a family man.
Yeah.
And this place is best for that.
Yeah.
That's true.
I touched down in Toronto and it was different. Like everybody was busy. It was similar to like being in Lagos. You get it? It was like rush hour. And I hate traffic.
Traffic the whole time.
I hate traffic. So being here, basically you can commute from one place to another.
10-15 minutes.
10-15 minutes here. So I wouldn't change. I wouldn't want to leave here for another place. No.
For now.
No, I wouldn't.
I think one thing that is very important in this conversation is sentiment and getting to know what God really wants for you.
Yeah.
But before we start dwelling on what God really wants for you, let's talk about the sentiments. Because sometimes we think those sentiments are things you can just close your eyes and leave them behind. Maybe Amy would say something about that, because sometimes those sentiments are very difficult to detach from. For instance, you've built a network, or let's say you've raised a family somewhere, or maybe you have a job that you really love, or something that before you call it sentiment, that means that thing is taking a strong part of your life.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. What are the possible sentiments that can even keep someone in?